idea of calling the show Circus was really that I wanted to base the work around this idea of performers. So there's some artists, some musicians, some actresses. Show business is a little bit like a travelling circus. It's a little bit like you're always there in the bright lights and always kind of on stage and always performing. And I kind of like the idea of the 1960s and the whole kind of rebirth of like the teenager, but also the rebirth of the celebrity kind of status. It was meant to be quite an optimistic show, but it does sort of show this kind of underbelly, kind of backstage kind of idea, which isn't quite as optimistic and sunny as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, they ended up looking quite melancholic actually. Everyone kind of wants to kind of put a label on it, but I mean contemporary textile portraiture on flags isn't very catchy, so urban art will do for now. Because I use flags as my canvas, it's kind of a bit like vandalism, so I think that's why I've been wrapped up in that scene, and I've kind of got one step in urban art and maybe 1 foot in contemporary art. Well, I started using flags after 9/11 actually, because we felt like we were being kind of treated like we were kind of this vacuous zombie kind of will go along with whatever you're saying kind of propaganda. Like, no, I'm going to use flags. I'm going to use American flags, portraits of women on American flags looking scared, because that's kind of how I felt like we were told to look scared. We were told to feel scared about this kind of threat of terrorism. Sometimes I use a vintage flag and it's literally ready-made, but it might be 1960s or 1950s, and I might not have to do much to it other than bleach it and paint it. Sometimes they fall apart in the painting process and they literally like have to be re-sewn and taken apart and patched and darned and bits taken out, and you know, I literally am there with a stitch ripper trying to, you know, rectify these flags that kind of change. And then other ones are like handmade textile pieces that go on the wall that are literally handmade from the start. So I kind of make a pattern that might be inspired by 60s packaging, or it might be inspired by a Target or a painting or something. I suppose I was kind of flying the flag for women a little bit because they're quite underrepresented in urban art specifically. So it was quite nice to be able to be a woman that's actually exhibiting and kind of fill galleries with faces of women.